Welcome.
Into the fire.
Marcus can hit that note. I like that. That was good. A little run with that. I like that. That's good. Welcome to another edition of the Wrestling Underground podcast. We're just going to whore this show out. Just gonna keep whoring it. We're going to do it Sundays. Now we're going to kind of do it Tuesdays. Now we're going to kind of do it every other Thursday. Oh, we are two sons of, well, one bitch. Hi, Mom. I'm sure Marcus's mother's completely fine. I've never met the woman, but she raised a wonderful young man. So I have to say she did good work. Mine, on the other hand. Oh, mine, on the other hand. So, this is your weekly NWA Powerrr recap. It's still going to go, so here's kind of the setup. We're still going to export parts of the Sunday show to YouTube. This whole thing's going to YouTube, though. So there's not going to be any broken up pieces. We're not going to export parts of it. But we are going to do it live on Twitch because it's going to help the export process. Because I was doing these, it's 20 minutes. All right, yeah, it'll take an hour to upload. But then Marcus joins me, and now we're going on hour and 40 minutes, and it's 4-hour uploads. I'm not doing this anymore. But if I just hit the export button, we're fine. So, of course, I am your host, as always, Chad Porter. You can find me on Twitter at ChadNerdCorp, ChadNerdCorp, as well as on Instagram at Chad's Photo Hut. I have my first photos of winter going to be going up on my Instagram page probably tonight because I have to do all the WCW stuff. So I'll probably do that in one fell swoop. And I was super productive last night, this morning, today. So there's 8 articles pending for the website, all kind of short 300, 500 word-ish kind of outings, and yeah. Gonna find some more passion, hopefully, and not passion. It's not a passion issue, Marcus. It's I've gotten 3 hours of sleep. My brain doesn't work. What's a plug? You need to take my what's a truck? So it's just one of those things.
I'm always relieved when I go to the NerdCorp Twitter account and he's like, just F today. I'm taking a nap. Yes, he's looking out for himself.
So I got 3.5 hours of sleep today. I live such a broken existence. Joining me as always is my good friend, my colleague, my cohort, my compadre, the glorious one himself, Marcus C.W. Anderson Green. I don't know if that's an insult to call you C.W. Anderson or a compliment, but we're going to roll with it. I was going to say IP freely, but we went with what we went with. Marcus Green, how are you?
I'm good. Glad to be back and talking another episode of good old NWA Powerrr.
You can find Marcus on Twitter at ParadoxKid, ParadoxKid, as well as on the True Penny podcast at True Penny Show on Twitter at TruePennyShow. I every time I say PE, I have to think, wait, did I say E twice? Broken boy, right here. So we have a truncated episode. Usually these go about 53 minutes with a little bit of an opener and a little bit of a, and usually it's about 56 minutes because they'll go live for about 3 minutes prior and they'll just show shit. But this was only 42 minutes with the opener, so that was a little perplexing. But whatever. We got a topic to talk about at the end of the show, so it's not like we're going to rush through this episode. They may have, we won't. And Marcus, we start with the 2 oldest cats in the building at the Rock and Roll Express. The hair is not working. Kudos to these dudes. They're quite literally 60. Well, didn't want to do that. They're quite literally 60 and 63 years old, I believe. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and be that guy you're too old. If you can put on a half-decent match, I say go for it. There's no reason. If you can do it without suffering long-term injuries, do it. All right, Edge, you got to retire before 40. I get that. Respect. But these 2 cats have never had any neck issues that I'm aware of, so keep going. They don't have spinal stenosis. You do your thing. But my dudes, cut your hair. because it's looking so like they look like that old dude in the trailer park that rolls up. You're the new tenant, and like their hair is just gone, but they still have a mullet, and you're like, why? Why do you people only exist in this region?
Yeah, Ricky's the one with the blonde hair, right?
Yes, and Robert is the one
Yeah,
with the giant bald spot and the terrible fucking mullet.
yeah. They got that Hogan hanging on hair, but Ricky has like a lot more of it.
Yes, and he's definitely got the Hogan skullet going a lot more than Robert. Robert just has huge bald patch. And like the thing is, like these two dudes were never good looking, and I don't want to be that guy to disparage someone's looks because whatever. But like even back in the '80s, these dudes kind of looked like toads. Like they were not the pretty boy free for all kind of team that some of the other expresses, like your Midnight Expresses and your rockers were. So like I don't know if they're aware of the gimmick. I don't know if they're aware of their setup, but hey, you know what? They're 60. They're still kicking ass, and they're rooting and tooting for the Outlaws, be it Homicide and Kingston. They're hyping up the title match tonight, and it's really I don't understand why wrestling, especially with the WWE, why they're so afraid to bring in regular veterans in these kinds of roles. With the WWE, they try to whore them out for like it's the debut of Fox's SmackDown or the 500th episode of Raw or Vince's left foot is having surgery, so we're gonna have a party. Why not use these guys more? Like, why is Kurt Angle not being used on television? Why is Sting not being used on television? Dumb questions, dumb answers. Marcus, I don't know how familiar you are with the Rock and Roll Express. So you know they've been on AEW Dynamite and now NWA Powerrr. Are you vibing with these two older gentlemen?
Yeah, I dig them. I love the fact that they have a lot of enthusiasm. And the fact, I mean, if people got introduced to them off of Full Gear, one that's funny, but they also probably think that like the tag team version of Goldust because one guy did a tope suicida. Shout out to Morrow and the freaking Canadian Destroyer. Um, but yeah, I mean, I like the enthusiasm. I dig the fact that they're going around to these different promotions and doing their thing, and that they're getting the respect everywhere that they go. Um, hair aesthetic aside, they I think they inject a lot of that classic style, when they show up and bring legitimacy with them, of course. And I mean, the history with the NWA is rooted within that company, so it only makes sense.
Yeah, they're in the perfect promotion. And we'll get to something Billy Corgan said. And why is he calling himself like what is it, William C. Corgan? What do you? No one calls you that, Billy. No one calls you that. No one calls you that. But they're in the perfect promotion, and they I actually remember watching them. I wasn't a big NWA. I mean, I was a big NWA guy, a big WCW guy, but they weren't really in WCW when I got into WCW. And my real first experience of seeing these cats were in '03 when they started showing up for NWA TNA. So even then, I'm like, these dudes are old, and that was 16 years ago. They got older. But it's cool that they're still being used, and it's cool that they're still being highly vaunted. So I appreciate that. Our first match, though, is not going to go well for Caleb Conley because he's facing Trevor Murdoch, and they're going to push Trevor Murdoch. And I have no problem with them pushing Trevor Murdoch. Trevor Murdoch wins this with a flying bulldog, which was actually really well done. And that's a move that you always have to worry about because if you don't have a good clinch on when you're coming down, you can slide off the neck. And what ends up happening is the force will drop your opponent down. And this is what happened to Butt Bagwell. What'll happen is like you'll slide in and slide off, and his head will hit the back of your back. Well, I guess hit your back. I can speak. It'll hit your back and compress his neck. And so it's always a risky move if you don't know how to do it. And Murdoch hit it perfectly. And I was really, really happy with that because that's one of my favorite moves of all time, and no one uses it anymore. So, like, yay. And also, I love Rick Steiner.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he executed it to the T. It looks good. It's almost like a picture perfect finisher for him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it kind of vaguely reminded me of I guess what Trish called it the Stratusfaction. Of course, it didn't always come off well because obviously that had to be aided not only by your opponent but with the ropes as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, and also another version of it, you could just completely overshoot it and it
Yeah.
come off looking dumb, and that's something you blatantly don't want to like screw up and do because then the opponent just like if he's stuck on stupid, he's gonna stay there and keep kneeling like that stupid move that Alberto used to do when they okay hold on to the ropes, I'm gonna jump down on you, that whole deal. So, but yeah, actually, I dug this match. Clearly, Conley is in a certain position, I guess enhancement talent at this point, but he's really good. Hopefully, maybe down the line he hooks up with somebody and start racking up some wins. But I like this contrast between the two of them. That their clashing styles really came off well, and Murdoch continues to look good and looks like he's having fun. So I'm glad he got talked into coming back because I think he's it'll be interesting seeing him move up the card, maybe clashing with somebody like Storm down the line or something.
That would be fun because those guys would have a nice brawl. We've talked about before about how Impact Wrestling has really developed this really out there scope of acquiring talent, finding guys that fit niches. I have a niece that work for the product that aren't demanded to be draws, but add a certain ambiance. Your Johnny Swingers, your Ken Shamrocks. These are the guys that you're not relying to sell pay-per-views on, but they add a nice kind of addition to a bulky roster. Instead of what AEW did, which was sign all the top guys you can get your hands on and now have no idea how to place them. There is such a thing as a pecking order, and you need to have a clear one if you're going to be successful. But signing guys that are kind of out of the scope of free agency is a great way to go, and that's what the NWA did by going and bringing back Trevor Murdoch, who hasn't been wrestling in probably 7 years, 8 years. So it was a great coup by them, and Murdoch is someone whose style is not inhibited by his lack of athleticism. Like, could you imagine if someone like Andrew Everett or Ricochet gained 40 pounds? They'd be done. Their career would be over. But Murdoch can gain 65 pounds and not give a fuck. Trevor Murdoch.
Yeah, I
Zero
mean
fucks.
it's interesting. I remember because I hadn't seen when he came back to TNA because obviously we had just got through talking about him on Underground. But when Kid Cash had I guess returned to Impact, he had kind of like we talked about he got Hoss, and you would think that kind of would I mean obviously it changed the style, but it fit perfectly because like I said he was full of piss and vinegar and he just became like a bruiser.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but if Ricochet or Will Ospreay ever got fat, that would be incredibly awkward. Like,
He's
can
no.
you imagine? Can you imagine like Vince being an a-hole and slowing down that Ricochet line like, pew, pew.
Just sounds like a cannonball hitting a fat guy. Will Ospreay would have to change his name to Will Siegel. Just a giant, fat, ugly bird. Speaking of ugly, fat birds, Damian Sandow's wearing the dumbest looking outfit sans parrot I've ever seen. Just Captain Morgan's back, y'all. And he's quitting, and the fans are loving it. And Damian, or Aaron Sandow, no, Aaron Stevens, sorry, I'm so sorry. Aaron Stevens was like, well, what's that?
Aaron Sandow, that's hilarious.
Aaron Sandow. Damian Stevens. Aaron Stevens, I fucked myself up. It's Stevens, right? Aaron Stevens, is that his name?
Yeah.
All right.
Uh-huh.
I was goofing so hard I forgot the real name. So Aaron is all like, I'm quitting. And they're like, good. And he's like, wait. Well, screw you then. I'm really quitting this time. Then he leaves. He's a great interview, man. Like, his matches may be as bland as, well, water. But you know what? His interviews and promos are one of the best parts about this show. I wouldn't do them every week, but definitely every other week. I have him do an interview because he's fucking righteous, man. I love this dude. I love half this dude. What was your thoughts on the I Quit promo?
I definitely loved it because I like the fans. I wanted them to leave too. as free flowing as he is on the mic and interacting with the audience and fun stuff like that, everything, besides some of the stuff when he's talking, kind of like you said, it's just bland. There's nothing there with it. You know, it's funny because I saw somebody pointed out when he had his match with Starks, what that was last week or a couple weeks back, and he had on skin tone tights.
Yeah.
Tension because obviously that's not something that immediately pops in my mind. Like, oh, he was doing that, wasn't he? Like, oh, there we go. So, but you mentioned how it's a good interview because I didn't really dig this. Like I said, I only liked it because he said he was leaving and he left, and I was happy. But I think somebody like him would work well as like an agitator interviewer for the actual guys on the roster.
Yeah, I could see that. He could also work really well
Yeah,
with
because he,
Caleb Conley in a tag team.
yeah, yeah, that could be something. But seeing him potentially interact with well, obviously he's already interacted with Starks, but seeing him try to interview Magnus and specifically trying to communicate with the non-speaking one herself, Camille, I think that could provide some very interesting entertainment, or just him with I was literally about to call them the Bashams, the Dawsons.
I mean, what's the difference?
But yeah, I think I like a role more like that. Or like if they gave him his own segment, like when who had the lounge segment in Impact? It wasn't Drake. Was it somebody else? Did EC3 have a lounge segment,
Was it MVP
or was it some
or the
the
Lounge?
V? No, no, he did have a VIP lounge. But did that WWE? Did he ever bring that to TNA?
Well, Eli Drake had his little segment,
Yeah,
but it was
his
like
Fact of
talking
Life
to
segment, and
Fact of Life. Yeah, that's what it was.
yeah, Fact of Life.
EC3 did like a fireside chat on YouTube, but I don't think that ever made it to air on
Okay,
television.
gotcha. Yeah, but that would be something cool for him to do. I think that's what he thrive more at than in the ring, because like you said, it's really just nothing there.
He's not very impressive. Speaking of impressive, though, Thunder Rosa follows us on Twitter. I'm pretty sure Thunder Rosa listens to us on YouTube. We love you, Thunder. Just letting you know. She's tagged up with Marty Bell, and they're facing the bleach blonde jobbers today. Crystal Rose and Brooklyn Creed. These are like the most generic Upper West Side white girl names I've ever heard. I'm Crystal Rose, and this is my friend Brooklyn Creed. Like you have to like
All I can think
accentuate
of,
the read.
yeah, all I can think about because of the colors they was rocking. Uh, he does exist. They do exist. Santa, the Eminem commercial.
Okay. Yes, yes, they are the blonde bombshells of M&Ms. I totally see that. He does exist. They do exist. By the by, how great was that Scoob trailer?
Oh, I love it. I love how smart they've made Scoob. Like let's not do that again.
Roll Raggy.
It's like, you know what this place is? IKEA. Fucking IKEA. Oh,
We got some trailers to talk about
oh,
this week. Also, I'm just going to announce this now. We are going to do ComicCorp this week, and we are going to talk Mandalorian. So if you can get your hands
oh,
on the premiere episode, that'd be
yeah.
good.
I'm watching it right after this. Uh, So we got a phenomenal school trailer. Can't wait to see that. Um,
Sonic.
I mean the movie. I mean I've already watched the trailer. Clearly, they fixed Sonic. I don't know if I can say the same about the actual film, but they fixed the character. And we got the Mandalorian. So we
Yeah.
got some stuff to talk about.
We got some stuff to talk about. It's gonna be a show. All right, so Thunder Rosa and Marty Bell made quick work of the Blonde Beauties, and then had a conversation at ringside. And by the by, Thunder Rosa's maybe 5 foot, maybe 4'11". I loved her like just walking up to Marquez and like getting in his face, smiling, and you could tell Marquez like, all right, like I'm not really afraid of you, but I'm also terrified.
I just, she liked Tessa and liked Taya when she was in Lucha Underground. I mean, obviously she still got a lot of that, but she had a specific character in Lucha Underground. Freaking Thunder Rosa is so many things at once. She's fiery, she's scary, she's sexy, a little bit of adorable. You catch her at the right angle, like Tessa, and like I said, Taya when she was in Lucha. But cause I was looking at her, I'm like, man, she is on fire, but there's still something very just cute about her. And then on this show, and we'll get to it, they showed another light. I was like, oh, okay, I don't want her to show up in my door. Shit. It's like,
Whenever a woman has her hair in the curls and like she's like hitting the
oh,
gloves together, you know, bitch about to die.
mm-mm, mm-mm. Anything that say jutsu, yeah, I'm gonna go pee.
Yeah. We will talk about that because that actually cross. I can't think of the goddamn word. That actually coincides with what I do for a living. So that'll be a fun conversation to have in a few minutes. But the one thing that, and this is the one thing that I always stress when it comes to female wrestlers, the one thing that I've been saying for months is they're behind the eight ball in terms of development. And that's something that I talked about in an upcoming column about Madison Rayne and how I recently found a fandom with her. And I've really been appreciative of how she's kind of found her niche inside Impact Wrestling. The one thing that it's been obvious is that the best female athletes have not been going to pro wrestling. You could look at Seth Rollins and argue if he had a different desire, he could probably be an NFL wide receiver. He's got quick, he's got hops, he's got athleticism, he's good. But he fell in love with wrestling, and that's what he wanted to do. Roman Reigns was a NCAA Division I Georgia Tech defensive tackle, and I think he was an ACC second team All American or second team All ACC. You know, the world of pro wrestling has been getting the cream of the crop of male athletes for decades. But you know, female volleyball players, female gymnasts. You know, these kinds of athletes were not going to wrestling for the longest time. You look at someone like Charlotte Flair; she was a gymnast, wasn't she? And Ricochet's girl before she left was the American Ninja Warrior chick. 20 years ago, they weren't coming to pro wrestling.
Yeah, I think Charlotte did like the tennis, not tennis, volleyball and stuff like that. I think she was also personal training before she did. So she definitely, had the athletics, with her before she came. Yeah.
You look at Jordan Grace; she's a bodybuilder, and I think she was a wrestler on her high school team, which was filled of dudes. So that right there is an impressive feat. Now you have a lot of female MMA fighters. Don't even. What's that chick's name with Mandy Rose? I always forget her name.
Oh, Sonya Deville.
Yeah, Sonya Deville. They're like, yeah, Sonya Deville was interested in taking another MMA fight. She's 0-1. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Shayna Baszler, okay. Ronda Rousey, okay. Get the fuck out of here, 0-1. No one wants to hear from you. You're not even a good enough pro wrestler. Go away. Like, how is that news? That's like saying Batista wants another fight. No one cares. But
she got a little aggressive about herself, but if somebody be like, then why is she always on my screen if she's not, some type of special type of fighter? Then somebody just walks by, you see Styles.
Styles always with that. Gay community. We support that on our show, but we will make fun of AJ Styles for bringing it up. Don't get me wrong. We're fine with however life you want to live it. Like, we are not about judging people on their personal beliefs or how they were born. That's just fucked up. But we are going to drive that AJ Styles quote into the goddamn ground. The goddamn ground. Because it's one of the funniest goddamn things. That, Shibata's goddamn. And Cody Rhodes, you want to fuck on me? 3 jokes that will never die.
Oh, God.
So, Anyway, I bring up the athlete comment to make a point of reference to Thunder Rosa. She is exactly the kind of female athlete that we don't see a lot of, but we're getting more of. She's crisp in the ring. Like, when you watch her, there's no hesitation. She's confident in her footwork. And there's a spot where she sprinted to the corner and then came back and hit one of the 2 blondes. I have no idea which one's which. I know. So racist of me. All blonde white chicks look alike. That's a running joke if you don't know. But she hit her with a lot of crispness and crispness, not Christmas. Although she probably hit her with some Christmas too. Then she came off the top and hit her again. And when you see that, you don't see a lot of women with that type of physical realization of what to do. A great point of reference is to watch, what Scarlett Bordeaux does. There's not a lot of confidence in how one moves, or Madison Rayne, not a lot of athleticism behind how she moves. But with Thunder Rosa, there is. Like, she's like, I've been a fan of hers for a while, but seeing her in the NWA and seeing just how sturdy she is with her movements and how precise she is with her striking reminds me of Tessa, Mercedes Martinez, Jazz, who's often underlooked when it comes to being a great worker. I don't know if at 51 she's as good as she was, 15 years ago, but 15 years ago she was fantastic.
Yeah, and of course not to ever come off like I'm saying like she can't have a certain personality trait or whatever, but she's always had an edge to her. Even when she was in an environment WWE, was that's not really what they was going towards, because she stood out in a time where they were evolving into the let's pick this girl out of this magazine and put her on the show type deal.
Mm-hmm. And
So
Jazz was as real as they came.
exactly. So it almost would suck if Jazz had that look about her and that edge, and just she looked like the chick that would be throwing a guy out of a bar, even at her size.
She
And
probably
if she got in
has.
the ring and and if she got in the ring and she had like, and not to knock them because they did their own thing and they had their unique place on the show, but if she got in the ring and had Tori Wilson, Stacey Keebler, like, in ring finesse, if you will, it would have came off extremely in perplexing, just because, like I said, for somebody who had her edge, the one name thing, which you don't oftentimes get, and me and you know this, when you're shorter, you kind of have to have that type of, pit bull mentality
Mm-hmm.
anyway. So
Mm-hmm. I've been living that pitbull mentality since I was 3. Just come at me, bitch. Let's find out what happens. Yeah, you might throw me through a window, but I'm gonna take your ass with me, motherfucker.
exactly, and even Cornette said it during the match. He was like, "I like this Thunder Rosa," and kudos to Cornette. Anything he kind of says on his private time, he says on his show is like, I've not really been too much of a fan of women's wrestling, but I like Thunder Rosa because of what she does. It's crisp. Like I said, her, Tessa, like you said, Mercedes, Jordan, others. Like, normally, American fans probably wouldn't get exposed to this type of thing consistently unless they was watching, Stardom or something.
Mm-hmm. Stardom, Ice Ribbon,
You know,
any one of those wonderful Joshi promotions. And that's the thing that I
exactly.
think American fans are going to start to realize is as female wrestling becomes more vaunted and wanted in the States, especially with younger female fans, you're going to see more and more athletes see this as a viable option. I think her name's Osaki, I think. She's a gymnast for Cal, I think. She had like this big, huge routine over this, like at the end of the spring, and like ESPN was just like promoting the hell out of it. If someone like her got into pro wrestling, holy hot damn, like that would redefine how women's wrestling is perceived. So, or like Simone Biles, is that her name? The chick with like the 1,000 gold medals in gymnastics.
Uh,
If someone
yeah.
like her got into pro wrestling, Tessa, sit down. You no longer the most athletic on the brand. Like, no, that's not even fair. And Thunder Rosa really brings that element to her. But what was cool about the segment afterwards was she only spoke in Spanish, which really pissed off the crowd. I thought that was a really great little nudge. And she's like, she has this adorable smile where she knows she's just a shit-eating heel and she loves it. And then Marty Bell, who is all kinds of fantastic in her own right, is translated for her. I was like, that's good. I like that. Ooh, because Thunder Rosa speaks English.
It was annoying me at first for two reasons. One, because I didn't want Marty to take as much of a backseat as she did right there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Also, like you said with Thunder, because I'm like, I know she can speak English, and then as you go on, it's like, okay, she clearly that's purposeful, because she's actually spoke English in the doggone promo. But yeah, because it kind of got funny. Like, I started being annoyed. It got funny because Thunder Rosa say something, and freaking Marty was like sandwiched in between Marquez and Thunder. So Thunder say something, and Marty be like, "She say your breath stinks." It's like, oh my God, this is kind of funny, but I don't want her to take as much of a back seat because primarily this beef is between her and Sienna, and
Hmm.
I was waiting for Sienna to kind of to maybe come out or to do something, not come out on the Titantron or anything like that, because again, this is the NWA. But primarily, she's kind of aligning herself with Thunder to kind of get a little bit of oomph in her step, if you will, to quote unquote step up to Sienna, since clearly she looked at her as competition and that was no longer on her radar. So
I've always liked Marty Bell, and I'll always like Marty Bell. I don't mind the position she's in because at least, unlike, say, an Impact where she was the tertiary or even at times the quarterly individual, she has a major role now with arguably the next women's champion in Thunder Rosa. So I think this is a good option for her going forward because it's going to
yeah,
get her on TV every week. And Thunder Rosa, man, like she's
yeah,
3'8", and I wouldn't fuck with her. Like I'll fuck with anyone. Don't get me wrong. Like and I'll fuck with her. Like I'm dumb like that. But like I don't want to fuck with her. Like, even though she's like 2'9". She crazy.
and it's so weird because like seeing her now, and I'm sitting back there like, man, like, and you don't look back on the promotion and say this with a lot of talent, but because most talent that got on there was got the spotlight on them because of what they was able to do there. But it's like you look back on her time in Lucha, it was like, damn, they kind of almost holding her back
Hmm.
in that Cobra Moon. Because I'm like, if she could have did this, in Lucha, she could have been tearing the house down with like Taya or Evilise when she was healthy, and stuff like that. So but maybe the timing is everything, and she's finally getting to do this in a very unique way. Although that would have been a great gimmick that they could have played a lot of sci-fi elements with in Lucha though.
Yeah, and you're right. Like I don't remember a lot of her wrestling in Lucha Underground because she did a lot more like skits and vignettes and stuff like that and backstage stuff.
Yeah.
But when you think about the women's roster in Lucha, you had Taya, you had Evil East, you had Sexy Star, um, you had Cobra Moon. I think there's a few others that I'm blanking on.
Uh, who was
Mar-
Marty's big sister? The
Mariposa,
cheerleader. Yeah,
yeah,
Mariposa. Yeah.
cheerleader Melissa. So like you had a really damn good roster. Like all five of those women, you could build a division around. So, and just beyond the women, think about all the talent that came out of there. Phoenix was a nobody. Pentagon was just some dude
Exactly.
who dressed with a skeleton mask. You know,
Yeah.
like these cats, they tried to build their entire first season around Ezekiel Jackson. Remember
Big
that?
Big Rick. It was like he went from being because I think he was the last WWE ECW champion,
Yep.
and then he went to this, and then I was like, wow, and then I love how they eventually killed him off in this freaking skull because Matt came in as his cousin, and now look where he freaking took over.
Yep.
So
Mac
that
though,
whole
I
was very
wouldn't
like
I wouldn't put Mac in the same category because Mac was someone kind of like an Alberto who came in with name value, in my opinion. Mac was always someone that maybe it's just me because I've been watching Mac for years. Maybe it's just for me then, but for me, Mac came in as a name. But Mac did, looking at what he's doing in Impact, I would like to see more out of him because he's a hell of a hand. But he's getting,
yeah.
he's doing a lot compared to where he was, and I think the WWE really missed the boat on that guy. But then again, they missed the boat on a lot of
Yeah.
people.
It's funny. I almost feel like poor Ricochet had more charisma or more ability to show whatever he had while he was under the mask and not able to talk.
Yep.
Whereas now, oh boy.
Go back to the muteism, Ricochet. It was working for you, bud. But here's two men that don't need to be muted: Colt Cabana and Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks. So Colt Cabana is out. He's got his NWA, whatever it's called, Grand Heritage, United States.
National.
There it is. And he's all like, "Yeah, I won." I'm like, "Oprah, you get a title. You get a title. You get." All right, whatever it's called. Then Ricky Starks like, "I want your title." Colt's like, "All right, no, it's mine." Ricky's like, "I want to fight you for it." Colt's like, "No, I don't want to fight for it." Ricky's like, "Do it." Colt's like, "All right."
This this segment became interesting for me once Ricky stepped into it. 'Cause like you said, the whole Oprah thing was whack. But I also like how Colt practically treated him like a legitimate gnat when he came out. Because he came home, he was like, then he got silent, then he went back to talking, and then he goes around the table, he's like, yeah. Then he gets closer to him, like, I don't know what the hell you're doing out here, Ricky. Oh, so that was funny, but he better. I wouldn't take Stars likely, but that might be again the thing that they're building. I hope they do because it's the same reason Sandow took 2 L's.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Commercial break time. We have shirts. Buy them. Help fund the site. Go to teespring.com/stores/nerdcorp. We have our classic Watch More Wrestling. We have our new Watch More Wrestling. And we also have our Wrestling Underground t-shirt, which is just a logo on a blue shirt. I'm super good at making shirts. Buy them because we need to pay for our website next year. Back to the action. Dan Parker's taking on the question mark. I could give a flying fuck about who the question mark is. I don't know about you, but what did they say Dan Parker's from? Bum Beach?
Yeah, some said Palm Beach, and then yeah, Cornette has the same thing. He was like Bum. I forgot the exact name of it, but it is I guess a legit place in Canada. And then Cornette was like, not familiar with goddamn Canada geography.
Shocking that he's from California or Canada?
Canada.
Bum Beach, Canada? What the flying fuck? Like, one, Canada doesn't have beaches. It's just snow. We all know this. There's only one road in Canada, and everyone eats maple syrup for all 3 meals.
Hilarious.
That would explain Dan Parker. So, what's your thoughts on the question mark? Because, like, this dude is... He's there.
Yeah, if there's something less than the flying F you gave, that's what I gave it. Like he looked like like the Dollar Tree version of Cross from Lucha Underground. What was
Son of
his
Havoc?
name? Yeah, Son of Havoc. He looked like a homeless Son of Havoc.
So, you might know this. You know how sometimes you go to like the Dollar Tree or like the discount stores and they would have like these like toy aisles of like off-brand, probably made in Tijuana, Bolivia toys that like G.I. Jack or like Wrestling Slam Buddies.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? He looks like one of those off-brand wrestling toys from the 90s that just didn't have any posable movements. It was just a plastic hunk. Why am I still being haunted?
I got a luchador.
It's not even luchador. It's a Luda Matador, and you're like, what the fuck is a Luda Matador? It's a Luda Mag, and you're like, what the fuck is that?
So uninterested in this. I don't even remember how this ended.
The question mark one. That's really all that matters. So we're back to Thunder Rosa. We should just name this the Thunder Rosa. We gush about Thunder Rosa for an hour show. So she made her debut this past weekend in Combates Americas, which actually does feature Sexy Star under her. I don't know if Dolce is her given name. I don't think it is. But she's going under Dolce Guevara, I think is her last name. I don't remember. But Sexy Star. And that's not who Thunder Rosa fought this weekend. I don't remember who she fought this weekend. I do know that she lost, unfortunately, in a 3-round decision. I think it was unanimous. And there was a point where she ate a lot of shots in the face, and it was, I was like, oh, no, that's not good. But it was her first fight, and I mean, I wasn't expecting her to be a world beater right off the bat. But it was kind of cool to see her in there, and she got a lot of respect afterwards. She busted open the inside part of her brow and her what's the upper part of your nose called? I think it's just called the brow. But like she busted open her face like right there, like right between like her nose and her eyebrow, and it was a deep gash, and it was impressive to see her fight through adversity. And she took it in stride, and she's like, I didn't win, but like I feel damn proud of myself, and like she should. And I said this with CM Punk, and I'll say this with anyone who tries to go into MMA. It's not easy, and just for you trying makes you a badass. Unless you're Caleb Starnes and you just run around the ring from Nate Quarry for 3 rounds because you're a giant pussy. I will never forget that fight. Fuck you, Caleb. And he did it in his hometown, Marcus. He did it in his hometown. He did the Running Man in his goddamn hometown and got booed.
He did it in the match or on the way to the ring?
No, all right. So little detour. It was like 2008, 2007. Nate Quarry, who's one of my favorite like low key fighters of all time, just a good dude. He's fighting this guy Caleb Starnes in I think it was Toronto or Montreal, and it's Caleb Starnes' hometown, right? And Nate Quarry for like a round and a half is beating him raw. Like this looked like a battery. I'm surprised the cops of Canada didn't arrest Nate Quarry. So for the other round and a half, all Caleb did was like run away from Nate. And it was so bad he was cut. And Marcus, I don't mean this facetiously or hyperbolically. He was cut before the show was over. Dana White was so mad at him. It's bad, man. Like, find the fight online if you can, because it's fucking hilarious. His hometown crowd booed him. It's the dumbassery of MMA that I just absolutely adore. But yes, so Thunder Rosa.
Yeah, I mean, much respect to her, man. I mean, she's into just sports that are not easy on women.
Nope.
You know, but kudos to her for being a badass in both. Getting in that cage is not easy because it's somebody on the other side legitimately looking to hurt you, and you're actively making a decision to take that challenge on head on. I think with wrestling, it's a bit more because it's a dance between two people essentially done right. I'm thankful she didn't face sexist star either in wrestling or in MMA because he'd really be in danger.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, just seeing that footage. Even not seeing the fight, but just seeing that footage and her getting ready and stuff like that, she looked badass. Hopefully they do more this stuff with, guys on their roster who may have other endeavors outside of, NWA, just to bring more intrigue. I mean, that's the thing they got going for them is like they actually making you care about a lot of these freaking characters. I mean, look, even they fake commercials is interesting.
Yeah, they are. Even the real commercials are interesting. So, real quickly on Combates Americas, on December 7th, Marcus, listen to this fucking main event. It's going to be Alberto El Patron, going by his birth name of Alberto Rodriguez. And he's going to be fighting, and I shit you not, Tito Ortiz. Would you like to know what's on the line?
Oh, it's not a page.
It is each man's respective former championship belt. So Alberto's putting on his former WWE championship, and Tito Ortiz putting on his UFC light heavyweight championship. So the winner's going to get the other man's trophy belt.
Wait a minute. So is Alberto putting on the big gold or the spinner championship?
Spinner championship.
Oh, of course.
And Tito's putting on his UFC title. So that's going to be fucking dumb, and I can't wait to see it. It's the big dumb, and I'm all there for it. I am all there for it.
Sure. Featuring a man with possibly one of the biggest heads I've ever seen with Tito Ortiz.
Dude, Tito Ortiz has a goddamn melon for a head. And I'm not talking about like a cantaloupe sized melon. I mean like a goddamn watermelon. That dude is all forehead all the time. All right, speaking of all something all the time, Tom Latimer is out, and he's yelling at Eli Drake because Eli Drake brought up Camilla. Isn't Camilla and Thom Latimer dating in real life? I believe they are. Royce Isaacs, who actually has a cool jacket, and I like that jacket. He's there too.
I was looking for you to clear this up because I'm like, what the freak? Because I'm going back to review last week's footage. I'm like, what did they even come into contact? And then for some reason that didn't even register to me about the whole Camille thing. Because he literally came out like Drake has been interfering in their tag team business for the last couple of weeks, which he really hasn't. It's kind of been, um, out of bounds, if you will, with certain things because I know obviously he's tagged with what Anderson or something or tagged with somebody else. So when he came out, it really that was the one thing that didn't make no sense because he kept saying it over and over like he like was dumb or something. Get out of my business. And then Drake had this dumbfounded like, what in the freak is he talking about? So yeah, that kind of brought the segment down. Drake killed it before they
Yeah.
came out, as per usual. But what the best moment was with
Anderson.
uh, no, not Anderson is hilarious by the way. Let me like shh, boo, like hey. That was great, but the time I forgot what the crowd was saying about no, yeah, he was like, who's gonna take that towel off Alder? There was like the question. He was like, you got a question. Let me give you an exclamation. And he shut them up and they started clapping because it was so good of a comeback. I was like, he got y'all ass. Just like the Undertaker did that crowd, and it was like, say what if you F your mom?
So Thom Latimer sounds just like Gerard Butler, and when I heard his voice, I was like, wait, he sounds like Gerard Butler. And then I looked at him like, holy shit, he looks like Gerard Butler too. So now I'm just
Way to
waiting for him
call.
to kick someone and going, this is the NWA.
Or call somebody on the NWA roster hiccup by mistake.
Gerard Butler. Funny, funny, funny. So yeah, Eli Drake gets yelled at by Mr. Anderson, and the ego off that I've been wanting for so long might actually happen. So yes, I purposely found the worst time to screen cap Billy Corgan's face, and I'm going to keep doing this until he stops calling himself William C. Corgan. God damn it, no one cares about you trying to be pretentious, you giant fuck. My hatred for Billy Corgan is unmitigated and unjustified.
I just imagine you said, "Man, f you, Corgan," as Chad is typing in his email on their side.
Sorry, he calls himself William Patrick Corgan. My bad.
Oh,
I was thinking about signing up for the site too. I was thinking about sending to get the email, but I don't know. I don't want Billy Corgan to be fucking emailing me. That dude holds a grudge like no one else. And he's promising that a big announcement's coming. Eventually. You got to sign up for their fucking email service, though. It's free, I think, but you still got to do it. And I'm like, ugh, I don't want Billy Corgan having anything to do with anything of my personal information. I feel like that's skeezy.
yeah, we got to end up. Yeah, please don't come out with anything called NWA Plus.
Let's be honest here. The NWA doesn't have enough to be NWA Plus. So, yeah, that's all Billy Corgan had to say. So, commercial break. Buy our shirts. Teespring.com/sites. Nope, sorry. Teespring.com/stores/nerdcorp. Buy them. Please. Begging you. They're only $15. And now we're back. We have another. Who is this cat? This old dude? He had the waffles and tire iron place. I forgot his name.
I forgot to do that. Got to do what is
So
this guy's
Don
name?
Rickles.
Don Rickles.
He's got a new business venture. He's no longer just selling tires and tire irons and waffles. He's now selling clones grown for $15,000 a piece at his farm that will either be babyface or heel. And I'm just like, how high is Corgan when he pitches these ideas? That's what I want to know. And what is he like on salvia all the time?
Tony Falk's wrestling farm where we raising heels and babyface.
Tony Falks. The Southern Don Rickles. This commercial, all right, listen. I can roll with the tire iron and waffles. I can roll with the invisible hair. I can even roll with the real commercials involving Austin Idol and the Retromania games. I don't know what the fuck this was, and it made me uncomfortable. Like
Yeah, I mean, this how I felt about that ball segment. I think.
Marcus, I felt like a Southern Baptist preacher at a gay pride parade watching this video. I'm like, what is going on?
Oh man.
I am uncomfortable and I do not know what is happening.
This must have been heaven for the furries, though.
Oh, God. They are like, all right, listen. I'm going to backtrack what we said. We accept all of you. How you were born, what you're into, all of your fetishes and whatnot. But if you're a fucking furry, I'm going to find you. And I'm going to smack your goddamn mascot head all the way around. Because you guys are fucking weird. You're fucking weird and I don't get you and I don't want you. Like, no. Shibata, hit me with that goddamn. Goddamn. No. No. No to furries. That's my political campaign. We're gonna reduce the budget. We're gonna improve education. Mr. Porter, what's your political platform? No more furries. Done. Drop the mic, walk off, win the election by 99%. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Speaking of guarantees, Nick Aldis has a guaranteed terrible haircut. You can tell that dude is going bald, and he does not know how to accept it.
Every time you say that now, I'm just going to think, I'm going retro.
I'm going retro. Oh, God. He has no charisma in that, and I don't know why. It's like his only quality. I'm going retro. Oh, my God. He's so terrible in that commercial. Was that intentional? Are you trying to make people not want to buy this game that looks fantastic? Oh my God! Like Wrestle Arcade, the game that this is a spiritual sequel of, is like one of the most fun, popular games of all time. Don't give it the Nick Aldis treatment. Like this Retromania is gonna be fantastic. I'm buying it. Marx is gonna buy it. We're all gonna buy it. This game's gonna be awesome. Nick Aldis, don't fuck with me, man. Don't fuck with me like that. But anyway, Nick Aldis is like...
No. Yeah, exactly. Why didn't he get coated something like that? He's got all the charisma you need for something like that.
Right? So, Nick Aldis is out talking about the title, and no one's going to take it off him, and that's literally it. Great interview. I don't know what the point of this was. Whatever. Main event time! The wild cards, Sam Latimer and Peyton Royce, or... Royce Payton, whatever his name is, taking on Kingston and Homicide. This was a fun little match. Royce Isaacs, that's his name. Royce gets the win on Homicide, if I remember correctly. Real strong match. Not surprised that the champs retained. What was strange, however, was the ending. Marcus, what the fuck was this ending?
Yeah, I don't know what that was. It's people coming out. Like when the Dawsons came, I'm like, really? Come on now. They just... Because it was like, it started to look like it was people coming out against other people who they legitimately had beef with, and then it quickly spilled like, everybody just goddamn, like, came out like they left something labeled with their name on it in the fridge and somebody stole it. It just came out like, what dude, the freak took my job? Like, that's what it came off like. And then, like, Storm and Drake got in Aldis' face and he walked out. That made sense, but then... Because when it happened, they also started playing the theme music.
Yep.
Which made it even funny. It almost like a bad choreographed music video.
You know what it felt like? You know how like Nickelodeon would have those shows in the 90s, like Guts or whatever? But instead of just like ending, they would play the theme song, roll the credits, and like you would see like the host hanging out with the kids and whatnot. And like you know, Michael O'Malley was like hanging there with the kids, like talking off, but you can't hear what they're saying. That's what this felt like. I'm gonna try to remember everyone who's involved. So the Wild Cards and Kingston Homicide. Then Aldis came out, and I think Eli came out, and then Anderson, Colt Cabana, James Storm, the Dawsons. I think Ricky Stark showed up eventually, and they're all just yelling at one another, like, who didn't flush? You didn't flush. You didn't flush. It was dumb.
Magnus was at ringside, and for whatever reason, Camille was rushing to the ring like she had something. Maybe this, like you said, maybe you're right. Maybe this is they're bringing the real life thing between Camille and Lattimore, which I don't understand. Obviously, there's a connection. I mean, him and Magnus are like literally best friends.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I would feel like this wouldn't be something they would need to necessarily inject into the thing. I think it's more intriguing to obviously start this whole thing with Camille out and then have it related to something actually maybe about Magnus that she's holding back or something. But
Oh,
who knows?
but by the way,
It got weird.
when Camille came
Yeah.
out, she was talking.
Yeah.
6 weeks. She doesn't talk. 6 weeks of does she talk? 6 weeks of does Nick Aldis control what she says? And she's literally talking. William Patrick Corrigan, you are the shit owner who decided to play the credits at the worst fucking time. Ah. B minus show, though. B minus. The ending didn't make sense. I'm not a wild cards guy. But the rest of the show was pretty good. So B minus. What about you, Marcus?
Yeah, same. I thought they packed a lot in here. I thought the show went by at a breakneck pace. I never felt bored or anything. I mean, like besides Sandow, I mean Stevens and the whole question thing. Everything else felt it was cool. Like I said, it moved at a certain pace. They packed a lot into this show. Even though it might have not felt like because how fast it was going by, but they got a lot in here. Continued to build on story. Just that end was. It felt like they're like, when is their pay per view? In next month, right?
Yeah.
So
like the.
it felt like maybe something that you would try to do gearing into a pay per view, but even if it was, that still wouldn't have made sense.
I think it's the 14th.
Because it's like it's not like. Yeah, because it's not like Magnus is about to have a Nick Aldis is not about to have a gauntlet for a championship. Like obviously Storm is kind of like said screw Colt and that national title. I'm coming out for Aldis, and Drake is just waiting in the win for his right time. But everybody else, like I said, it was a weirdo free for all, and I guess they thought it was exciting to have them all come out like that. But it just came out really. It came out worse than what I'm guessing they thought it did. Maybe it worked better for the crowd, but I don't know about the viewing audience.
Yeah, we were not visually appeased.
Yeah, so I gotta agree with that. That minus on that beef for sure.
So we move on. Join our Patreon. Another ad break. Patreon.com/nerdcorp.
Yep.
And we have a final. It's not a news story, but it's a point of context that I want to add. So apparently, and I wouldn't know this firsthand because why would I watch Raw? Why would I? All-time lowest rating, by the way. Seth Rollins is a draw. Such a draw. This product's so good, Marcus. So, Seth Rollins apparently came out on Raw, and people reported that they dubbed in new fan reactions to his entrance, and they overlaid a cheering section. Now, again, I wasn't there when they filmed it, and I didn't see it live or listen to it or view it on the TVs. But I can tell you what, I 100% believe that because it wouldn't be the first time that WWE has done this. Seth Rollins, though, has basically become... I don't know if he's so far up Vince's ass that he's hanging out in the colon. But I do know that he at least has residence in the lower intestines. And I don't know why he's decided to be Vince's ass kisser extraordinaire, but he has. And him and Corey Graves have become the mouthpieces for the corporation. Which is ironic because they both came up as these hardcore punk anti-establishment, anti-authority guys. And no, they're very much still establishment and authority dudes. So Rollins has had his entire image eviscerated over the last 5 years. Most of it's his own doing. And when I heard this, I rolled my eyes because, of course, the fans have turned on him. He constantly shits on other wrestlers. He takes shots at Will Ospreay. He's taking shots at Ricochet. He's taking shots at Kenny Omega. He takes shots at everyone. It's what he does. And fans are sick of it. So I had this thought. Seth Rollins is now getting the Roman Reigns treatment. He's everywhere. The fans hate him, and it's just a thing. But even at Roman Reigns' peak hate, never did Roman Reigns lash out. Like, he may have had, like, a dumb tweet here or there, or he may have tried to pull, like, the John Cena, like, hey, whether you boo me or cheer me, at least you want to see me, or whatever. But he's never attacked anyone that I'm aware of. Like, maybe he did, I don't know. But I'm not aware of it. Marcus, are you aware of it?
This is relating to the fan attack, the fan thing.
Yeah. Did Roman Reigns ever attack any fans or other wrestlers on social media that you're aware of?
No. He's pretty much kept his cool throughout everything. Yeah.
And this dude's been shitted on. Now, I'm not a Roman Reigns guy, and I'm not going to sit here and all of a sudden become a fan of the guy. But I do have to applaud his mentality. The guy's battled cancer twice. He's a former collegiate nose tackle for Georgia Tech. He's got to deal with the fact that he is a distant cousin, not by blood, of The Rock, as well as the Usos and Rikishi, so he's got that whole family lineage he's got to deal with. He's been just chastised by the wrestling community for just being bland, and he is. Like, let's be honest. His character's not exactly the most excitable thing on WWE television. But he's always handled himself with a certain grace and dignity that Seth Rollins just does not exist with. Reigns is a father. He's very low-key. But Seth Rollins has cheated on, or helped cheat on people for most of his career. So he's not exactly a good human being. He cheated on his fiancée. He tried to get Caitlyn, who was married at the time, to sleep with him. He fucked a Nazi. Can't ever let that go. That happened. That's a real thing. And you can sit here and argue, well, Zara Schreiber's not a Nazi. She's a lesbian. I'll sit here and tell you, I don't give a fuck who she fucks. If you own Nazi propaganda or Nazi paraphernalia and you didn't murder a Nazi to claim it, you're a Nazi. You tell me that you murdered 20 Nazis and took their little insignia and you hang on your wall to remind you of the 50 Nazis that you killed, Cotton Hill. All right. Cool trophy. But unless you spilled the blood to take that insignia off of one of them dead Nazis, or a Nazi scalp, if you will, that just means that you think it's cool, and that makes you a Nazi. This isn't like a one or the other. Like, you're not going to sit here and tell me, oh, I'm not part of the KKK. I just love these robes. No. No. If you buy it, if you adorn it, if you wear it, you're a Nazi. I don't jump in on that bandwagon very often of, well, if you do it, you're automatic. No, but in this case, like, if you kick a puppy, you're a puppy kicker. Like, you can't argue against that. If you own Nazi paraphernalia and you didn't murder a Nazi to claim it, and host it up on your wall to warn other Nazis that you'll kill them too, you're a Nazi. And I don't think Zara Schreiber fought in World War II. I'm just throwing that one out there. I'm taking a big leap saying that, Marcus. That Schreiber didn't fight in World War II. I'm just saying. I don't think she did. I just don't think she did. So if she owns any Nazi paraphernalia, it's because she bought it because she thought it was cool. So Seth Rollins fucked a Nazi.
When CrossFit Jesus met Hitler's biggest fan.
Right? Which also makes you wonder if Seth Rollins is Hitler's second biggest fan. Because I know for a fact, I don't give a shit how hot a woman is. If I see the goddamn Nazi symbol hanging up in someone's bedroom, I'm going to go, no? And just kind of like slink out the back. Because I'm not fucking with that. Like, I'll fuck with Crazy. Me and Crazy get along great. I ain't fucking with Nazi. I draw the line at racism. I draw the line at a lot of isms, but racism being the obvious topic of today's conversation.
Yeah, this has yet to happen to me, and I hope it never does. Like a girl that's really hot, and then, y'all about to do it, takes the clothes off, and then just imagining somebody who says they're not racist, that's of another race, but they have racist tattoos, and then they try to explain it away. Like, this is just random thoughts that are, like, evolve in my head. I'm like, I wonder how, like, a girl would try to explain a noose away to a black guy that's on his back. Like, how do you explain to a black guy why you have a noose hanging from a tree? That's very specific. It's like that.
She got Joseph Kony on her stomach. Oh, I just like his policies. What? You committed genocide.
Uh,
No. Fuck that noise. So we have to applaud Roman Reigns because the dude's like he took steroids once. Oh my god. Who cares? It's not a fake sport. It doesn't matter. And he's not very good on promos. All right. And you got Seth Rollins, who's worse on promos. Anyone who says Seth Rollins is a good promo is sucking at the teat of Seth Rollins in some capacity, either be it fandom or financially. Because Seth Rollins is garbage on promos. You gotta understand, when I'm the WWE champion, I'm not. Shut up! Oh my God, no one cares. CrossFit Jesus, go fuck yourself.
I had to say burn it down. I'm gonna burn it down.
Burn it down. I don't know why mine is just incomprehensible sounds, but there we go. Like, fuck off. No one cares. No one cares. And everyone's like, oh, he's such a great in-ring worker. Is he? Is he? Being athletic and knowing how to work isn't the same thing. And it's time you all realize that. Like, I know this is like a hard pill to swallow, that you aren't actually well aware of what a good in-ring worker is. Seth Rollins is fine. He's not terrible. Oh, he jumps really high and he does a boot. And he does flippies. Cool. So does 90% of the fucking community at this point. We got fucking douchebags who jump into fucking barbed wire and fucking light tubes who can do flippies. Are you kidding me? That's not an accomplishment anymore. I'm more surprised when you can't do a flippy. AC Romero can do a flippy. It's not impressive anymore. Like, y'all have burned that bridge down to the ground. That argument needs to fade away into nothing.
I got it in.
Got it in. I had to. Like, it was there. I could touch it. I'd squeeze it. Now I got to feel it. But Seth Rollins is the worst. And the dude can't handle criticism. And he's a WWE corporate lackey. So he's like the worst person possible. Short of someone who does actual felonies. Like, all right, yeah. If you got like a baby killer or like, not like if you got like a murderer or like a rapist on your roster, okay, Seth Rollins isn't worse than that. But like, if you got Seth Rollins on your roster and you don't have any, tier 1 felony guys to worry about, first degree felony guys, yeah, Seth Rollins is pretty bad. He's pretty bad. Don't fuck with Seth Rollins. He's got all kinds of issues. And I was going to write about this, but she said fuck it. His whole thing, and now Corey Graves, and how Graves is like, wrestlers need to not vent on social media. It's not good. Okay, corporate stooge, whatever you say. I'm not a big union guy, but fuck Corey Graves and his WWE corporatism. Like, fuck that noise.
First off, had he started that sentence off with speaking from experience,
Oh, God.
he would have came off better.
Oh, my God. Corey Graves needs to not talk on social media. That dude puts foot in mouth so constantly that I'm pretty sure it's his middle name. Corey Foot in Mouth Graves.
Because I feel like Seth had his feelings towards Ambrose, looked at Graves' tweets about Punk, and went, hold my beer.
Hey, I'll tell you what, Corey. I can talk shit about my friend better than you can talk shit about your friend. Dean Ambrose, it's not very good. Ooh! Oh, and Corey Graves, you tattooed up wannabe douchebag. Ugh. I cannot stand these sycophants. Like, it's one thing to defend your company when it's worth defending. I get defending Impact. I get defending New Japan. I get defending MLW. I get defending NWA. But when you look at what the WWE does to people and their just devout desire to fuck wrestlers as hard as they can for no reason, it makes you realize just what they're about. You'll never hear the WWE give talent on the bottom end of their roster raises for no reason. You'll never hear it because they won't do it. You'll never hear the fact like Impact constantly says we're a family. You know, we might be owned by a major, outlet in Canada, but we run Impact like a family, and it feels that way. And you see a lot of guys keep coming back to Impact for a reason. You don't hear you never hear that with the WWE. Like even if you were going to go with the WWE Marxism approach and go in there and just like start pontificating all these amazing platitudes, you will never hear the WWE is a family because no one would believe it. And they're ran by a family. And even they don't talk about being a family because no one would believe it.
What's even worse with stuff like with Graves and Rollins, and even going back to freaking Road Dogg when he was kissing their ass because of the position he was in. These guys know why and what the fans are complaining about, and they're still standing in front of the onslaught like when Piccolo saved Gohan. Like, what are you like?
So perfect reference, and it's a perfect duality of the reference because in the original, Piccolo just stood there and took Nappa's shit, but in the abridged, we hear Piccolo's true thoughts. Why won't you dodge? Why won't you dodge? Like, imagine if John Cena goes, I admit that the WWE product is not as good as it could be, and that falls entirely on Vince McMahon. It's time for a change. Holy shit, things would happen. But these guys are so goddamn worried about their spots, or they're so infantilized by the fact that Vince McMahon gave them millions of dollars to shut the fuck up, that they're not going to speak out. Like, these guys cannot be in the industry for as long as they have been and think that the company's being ran well. They can't be that naive. And if they are, holy shit, that's a cult.
I mean, look, man, them some thick-ass checks they must be handing out around there because, it's curing every possible L, that they could possibly have. I mean, look, that's what I'm saying. Like, they know the fans are talking about creative. And they constantly, in interviews, go on about how they either have gone to Vince or creative with a bunch of storylines that never see the light of day, and then they come out and eat crap, or they sometimes will talk about a storyline that was clearly asked. Like, I can't wait to hear a Rusev Shoot interview after this crap he's doing now.
Did you see Rusev actually commented on it?
No, I didn't. He commented on it?
So I'm going to paraphrase it. He said that the angle is completely something that they're involved in, that like, they can provide input into how they want it to go. He said that it's caused some adjustments in their relationship. I don't know what that means, but in my head, it's Lana traveling with Lashley, and she's just going, no, it's just for work, hon. It's just for work. Rusev going, oh, okay, if you say so.
Talking about size adjustments? Hello.
I mean, they're about the same size. Like, I don't know. But let's be honest. There's definitely something that's a little fishy in Denmark when it comes to that relationship. Like who knows what the hell's going on with Rusev and Lana? Like, I don't know. When you say there's been some adjustments in your relationship because of an angle, I'm curious what that means.
Like, is he saying, like, because there's a lot of room for interpretation now. Like, are you saying, like, when you guys used to come home and talk about your day and talk about how you felt about your storyline, now that's no longer a thing because you don't want to hear about what Lashley tasted like on Monday? Like, because I know she came from the acting world, but she's committing.
Yeah, she's committing, man.
He is all up in her tonsils.
I'm not going to be surprised at all if I see like the Brazzers logo on the next edition of Raw. Because Lana's getting in there, man. But here's the thing, and I want to say this as carefully as possible. Or not. It's not a bad thing. Why would I say it carefully? I don't believe Lashley would be that kind of guy. Like, I don't believe he would chase after someone else's wife. Lashley's always struck me as a very disciplined human being. And that dude looks like Kirby if Kirby was black. And Kirby's adorable. So that dude's not having a problem getting women. Right?
So how did you do? Now all I can do is imagine Kirby going to the hood and doing the suck up. And he sucks up a random black guy and you get laughed at. And then because I used to watch this show, they used to have this character, I don't know if you watched the show, they used to have this character called Meta Knight.
Yes.
And he always name the new Kirby. It's Air Kirby. So now it's like, it's Black Kirby.
Excuse me if this offends anyone. Boy, that's fucking hilarious. It's Air African.
Oh, God. It's Black Panther Kirby. Oh, God. Oh.
I've been wondering where Ahmed Johnson's been for 20 years. Now we know. Kirby inhaled him. Ahmed Johnson got fired by WCW. Kirby inhaled him and became Bobby Lashley.
All this time we thought Vince was cutting the black community off at the knees. Kirby was just getting to him before they had a chance to get to the title. Oh.
Oh, God. I'm broken. I'm just imagining every black wrestler's ever been fired, or it's like Vince is like, all right, Darren Young, I need you to come to the office today, and Darren's like, oh, I'm gonna get fired, and Vince is in the office going, I'm gonna make Darren Young WWE champion. I cannot wait. What a monumental moment. Black man, gay man, WWE champion. It's gonna be great. Waits for an hour. Hey, has anyone seen Darren Young? And Bobby Lashley's wiping his mouth away. No. Huh. Every time I want to give a black wrestler a promotion, they vanish without a trace. Perplexing.
Oh,
Like, maybe Vince isn't super racist. Maybe Kirby's just been eating black people to become super Bobby Lashley. He's Cell. You haven't seen my final form. Kobe's holding onto the ropes. No! No! Lashley's just inhaling everything. Xavier Woods flies in. Then he spits Xavier Woods back out. No. Biggie wouldn't even make a dent in Lashley. He was just like, oh, look, he has an extra vein. Xavier Woods gets inhaled, and he just picks Xavier Woods back out and goes, no.
Oh, my God, that's why Titus tripped.
He didn't trip. He slid to avoid Kirby. He heard the do, and he's like, nope. I got 2 kids. Nope.
Oh, man. Oh.
You know what the photos of this episode is going to be, right?
Oh, man, please take your time. You're right there.
You know what it's going to be.
I'm
going to turn Kirby black and put him on Lashley's body. It's going to happen.
It's African Kirby. Oh, if he got the book of tea, it's Kirby from Africa.
What was the name of that Nostradamus guy on Chappelle?
Oh, I didn't watch a lot of Chappelle. What was Nostradamus guy?
It's a play on words.
Chappelle. Nostradamus. Oh, God. It was Negro-damus. Yeah.
That's it.
That is. Was it Wayne Brady? Jesus.
No. It wasn't Wayne Brady. It was an older gentleman.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Yeah, that's hilarious, man. Freaking Kirby and Helen Booker T and the dreads come out. Oh.
Can we get away with Negro Kirby? Kobe.
Negro Kobe. That is. This is why we can't have sponsors, people.
Well, technically, the Spanish word for black is negro, so it's not like it's completely offensive. Uncouth, maybe.
Yeah, they had a Sin Cara Negro. Speaking of,
Right? Kirby shows up to suck up Hunako and just like, wait, you're not black? Oh no, I played Negro Sin Cara. Kirby's just like, fucking racist.
close
Walks
enough.
away. He's just so butthurt because
Ima-
he's not actually black.
oh God, imagine him coming to the company in 2006. He's like, oh, Durag must be a black guy. Turn around in this bench with the damn ECW championship.
Wait, didn't they put a do-rag on, what was that white dude's name that hung out with Festus?
Oh, freaking, what was that dude's name? DJ, it wasn't, what was his name?
His
I
name was
remember.
Jesse and Festus. Was it DJ?
Yeah, DJ Jesse.
Was that what it was?
Jesse and Festus. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, Jesse and Festus. That's it.
I remember his name was Jesse, but what was his do-ragged name?
That was, come on, give me the ring names. Jesse Dalton. Oh, Slam Master J.
Oh
Jesus.
God, talk about. All right, so if you want to get over as a heel, go out in 2019 as Slam Master J and say that this is your name for the culture, and you will have things thrown at you.
I can't help but see the similarities between him and Chad Gable, only for the fact that he used to wear a similar outfit. Then he slowly evolved into a quote unquote ethnic character, and now Chad Gable, who was wrestling in the slinger like Jesse, is damn near Harlem Globetrotter.
Oh, that's accurate. That's accurate. He looks like one of those, again, he looks like one of those discount basketball toys. Like, oh, look, do you want like an MJ? Because they used to have like these posable basketball player toys. Remember those?
Yeah.
Well, they used to have those like baseball, UFC. So like it was a whole thing. But like I could imagine like an off-brand one, just like some dude in like blue and neon green shorts, and he's dunking the ball, but he's like 4'2". Oh, it's Chad Gable. It's Shorty G.
Shorty G.
He's never gonna make the Globetrotters with that name. Like he could suplex the Globetrotters into another atmosphere. Don't get me wrong. But he ain't gonna be out there. By the by, Globetrotters were always my second favorite Scooby-Doo guest stars.
Oh, loved them. Loved
They're
them.
great.
Some of the best episodes.
Batman and Robin being my first, because I was a kid. You know, love them. So we insulted Kirby fans. We probably caught the ire of a few black fans.
Yes.
We pissed off Nazis. So 1 out of 3 ain't bad, especially if it's that one.
And the CrossFit community.
CrossFit community. So we've done our job. We pissed off enough people, I think, for this episode.
But if this is him with the championship itching, like what is he gonna be like when they finally take it off of him? He feels like he needs to be back in contention. Like is he gonna be like he was in NXT, going like I'm better than this? Like either you put me in the spot I need to be in, or I'm leaving. Like nobody wants to see Seth freaking Rollins in AEW.
No one wants to see Seth Rollins on Raw. No one wants to see Seth Rollins at CrossFit. He shows up and all the husbands start hiding their wives. Hide your kids, hide your wives, because Seth Rollins coming up here and taking everyone. Just fuck. And here's the funny thing. I don't even care enough about Raw to watch his nonsense anymore. Like, just go away. Shoo. This company's fucked, and with stars like Seth Rollins, do you blame them? All the while, Impact is running hard with Ken Shamrock. Whatever, I'm in. Let's watch. I'm game. So that's all we got for you guys this week. Unless Marcus, you have anything else you want to add on or bring up?
No, I mean kudos. Real quick to what is this? The second or the third? Second Sin Cara, right?
Yes, second.
As for his release, so I guess he's on the potential release docket, along with the hopefully in a happier place now, Mike Kanellis.
Well, if they get cut,
We'll see.
maybe. Maybe. I hope Canales
Yeah.
gets cut because that way he can go to Impact and thrive. And apparently, Sin Cara at 43 wants to start an MMA career. Whatever.
Yeah, we talked about that before. That transition in the other way has not been as smooth as. Is Batista still fighting?
No, he fought
Oh, he's.
once like a decade ago.
Yeah, so yeah,
And
he's
he
kind
beat
of
the hell out of
switching.
the guy, too. But Jake Hagar is the more recent one besides Thunder Rosa and Sexy Star. And Jake Hagar has not looked good at all. He's beating up these out of shape nobodies, and like goddamn man, he needs to fight someone real fast because he's quickly losing any appeal. So, realnerdcorp.com, RealNerdCorp.com. I wrote so many articles this morning and last night. I don't even know which one's next, so you're gonna have to tune in tomorrow to find out. But there is one right now. It's about Monty Brown and Impact Wrestling's most recent hiring processes. He needs to do it. Monty escaped the maw of Kirby. Monty Brown is back in society. We have acknowledged that. We have seen him twice in 2019. He is no longer part of the Kirby Lashley monstrosity.
Uh,
Blirby. That's it.
Anybody from Impact is listening, I would very much like, if at all possible, for them to do a thing. And I don't know if this was Impact with a collaboration or who exactly did it, but the video that they did on LAX before one of the pay-per-views. You remember that diary episode they did?
Yeah, they actually just
I
did it
want
on
them.
Joey Ryan.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah, I'm going to skip that one.
Okay.
Too.
Do a better. Do it on Monty Brown because I would very much like to, get his whole feelings on leaving at a time in his career where he was on the come up. I mean, obviously, he left for very important reasons, but I would very much like to get, his headspace on, everything, and then specifically coming back and maybe ending his career, kind of where it started. So, if they could do that, I think that would be phenomenal.
That's one of those stories that I think is always fascinating because at the time, and I always talk about how everything ebbs and flows and how everything is circular. At the time, wrestling wasn't as geared towards the athleticism that it is today. So Monty Brown was seemed as a WWE guy, even though he never wrestled in the WWE at that point. And with guys like Christian and Rhino and Sting, and eventually like Kurt Angle would join, but I think Monty would be gone by then. Monty was quickly losing his spot, because they were bringing in guys that were deemed more fan-friendly with their styles than Monty, because Monty was pretty rudimentary. He was the big powerhouse. But this was at a time when fans didn't want to see more of that. But now, Monty would be completely welcome back because they want more guys like Monty that are different than what the hoi polloi are doing everywhere else. So it's a little sad that Monty got to start when he did. Or I should say, was born when he was, because if he was born 15 years later, he'd be the world champion in Impact right now. But at the time, fans wanted smaller, more athletic wrestlers in the main event, and Monty just was an unfortunate victim of circumstance. Watching him back though, like Marcus, watching him today, in 2005, 2006, holy God, he was so fun to watch. He wasn't having the 30-minute barn burners that like Styles and Daniels were having, but his matches were just as exciting, save for that Triton feud. that was a bad one. Goddamn Triton. All right, but yes, hopefully Monty Brown does come back to Impact, and that's addressed in the column. RealNerdCorp.com, check it out. RealNerdCorp.com. We're also on Twitter at NERDCORP and on Instagram at RealNerdCorp. This is the OC month. So the Woman Crush is going to be someone from the OC, California. Wednesday we're talking this week's edition of Impact. Thursday is going to be The Mandalorian, Scoob, as well as Sonic. And on Friday we have Season 3 of the OC. Tune in this week, check it out. And we are taking a small hiatus from GameCorp. Matt is doing some things personally that he needs to get done and addressed with. But we will be back by the end of the month for GameCorp. So I'm off Saturdays. Woohoo! I have 2 weeks off. I'm so excited. So that's what the week looks like. Marcus, do you have anything that's going on that you want to let the fans know about?
No, just like you said, always, comments, concerns, questions, anything except unnecessary illogical flack. Hit me up on Twitter.
Paradox Kid, PARADOXKID. You can go to our personal complaint department. It's on Twitter at Baron Corbin. Or it's WWE Baron Corbin. One of those is
Yeah.
right. And even if it's not right, if somebody created a Baron Corbin fan account, you can harass them too. Like, you're picking Baron Corbin to stand on Twitter? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? When you have so many other better options. You could be AJ Styles' hair. Looks like a Pantene Pro V commercial. He looks like he got his hair done in the gay community. Gay community.
Yeah,
Queer
by the way,
eye for the Styles guy.
hilarious, by the way. If we do a category at the end of the year awards for like funniest random wrestling moments, best believe Hornswoggle's "Honey, I Shrunk the Phenomenal" one is going getting a vote from me.
Oh, God. I never realized how much alike they looked until he grew his hair out. So you also
weird.
You can also find us on Podbean at realnerdcorp.podbean.com. You can download all of our past shows over there. If you want to take us on the go and download us, you can download the Podbean app and do so to your mobile device and search for us on your mobile device via the Podbean app at Real Nerdcorp, RealNerdcorp. If you're an iTunes folk, you can do that on the iTunes as well by going to the iTunes podcast section and searching for us at Nerdcorp, Nerdcorp. We're also on YouTube.com and Twitch.tv. The YouTube links are down below, and Twitch.tv is /WrestlingUnderground and Comic and GameCorp. We have 2 Twitch channels and 2 YouTube channels. Subscribe to them both. Links down below. That's all I got. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for giving us a shot. Thanks for giving us a chance. Thanks for tuning in. Remember to watch more wrestling. And Marcus, take us home.
Good night, me.